There we go. All right, George.
Okay.
Our webinar is now streaming on live on YouTube. Go ahead.
Okay, Fred, I'm looking at a picture of you. Can you bring up the presentation?
I sure can.
Okay, well, good morning, everybody. It looks like we have 60 some participants here, so welcome to everybody. This is George, K5KG. I'm located in Sarasota, Florida. Also, my co-anchor here is Fred Clever, K9 Victor Victor, and also in November Papa 2 X-ray. Fred is down in St. Croix in the U.S. Virgin Islands. And we have this little presentation we put together about WRTC, which will happen in 2022 in Italia. So let's, next slide, please. Here's basically the situation with Hamcation, with the WRTC 2022. A year ago at Hamcation 2020 in Orlando, Florida, we began with the promotion of the WRTC at this large Hamcation Ham Fest that's held annually in February. We had many hams very interested in what was going to happen in Italy in 2022. What was WRTC all about? And of course, at that time, and about shortly after Orlando Hamcation, we were all blessed with the onset of the COVID-19 virus. And that has led to a shutdown, as we know, worldwide and many diversions in all of our personal and professional lives. So with that, not a great deal happened with the promotion of WRTC in 2022 because of that. But Claudio and his team and Fred and I and several others have been working behind the scenes trying to keep it going. But anyway, it's as our last bullet says, while COVID complicated our efforts, we continued with the planning. So go to the next slide, Fred. Okay, what is WRTC? Well, it's really the World Radio Team Championship is what it stands for. It's the Olympics of amateur radio competition. It's held every 4 years, and it runs concurrent with the IARU World Championship contest, what used to be known as the Radiosport contest that we all knew and loved. The Radiosport contest, or the IARU HF Championship, is a 24-hour contest, worldwide contest, phone and CW, and WRTC competition is held during that 24-hour event. The WRTC is comprised of 2 operator stations, each with running 100 watts, with similar stations and similar terrain that we'll talk about later. All operations, all of the stations, and we believe there'll probably be 69 stations in this WRTC, which is held in Italy. And each of the stations is monitored for the entire 24 hours by an impartial referee, who of course is one of the amateur radio operators who's an active contester, but serves as an impartial referee for the event. And there will be 5 sponsored teams, 6 youth teams, and some wild card teams, as we have in the presentation. Next slide, please. Okay, where will it be? Well, it will be in the vicinity of Bologna, Italy, in the central part of Italy. It will be headquartered at the Marconi location, but fundamentally a property that was the home of Marconi back in the day when he was, of course, the inventor of radio that we all know and love. The WRTC organization and the organization of the event is done in cooperation with the ARI, which is basically the Italian American Radio Relay League type of organization. The terrain in which the WRTC will be operated is in very flat, largely rural territory surrounding this entire very large region around Bologna. Next slide, please. This is the home that Marconi had when he lived there. He later moved to the UK, and I understand he became a UK citizen at one point. Interesting sideline, Marconi's wife was a Jameson of the Jameson whiskey family, but that's an aside. This was the main residence of the Marconi family from the mid-1800s, and he set up his first workshop here and performed his first experiments with radio telegraphy from this location. And this building and facility will serve as the headquarters for WRTC. Next. Well, Bologna, where is it? That's basically in north central Italy. It's a very picturesque town. I personally have not been there. I've been to Italy a number of times, but I've not been here. It's certainly in an area where many of the wonderful Italian vehicles are built, Lamborghini, Ferrari, Maserati, Ducati, and they have factories and museums in this area. And interestingly enough, and Carlos or Claudio, I4VEQ, could tell us more about this, but Signor Ducati was also a ham radio operator back in the 1920s and 1930s. And the property that I4VEQ currently operates from is a property that Signor Ducati used for his radio transmissions. And I understand he made one of the first transatlantic contacts was made from that site using shortwave frequencies way back in the early, I guess, 1920s. Next slide, please, Fred. Yeah, well, who will attend? We expect more than 60 teams from many countries. Fred has participated in 2 WRTCs, so he's well aware of this. And I have been at 2 of them. I was one of the station managers when we had the WRTC in New England in the United States. And I was also present as a visitor at the WRTC in Wittenberg, Germany in 2018. And it's wonderful to see the contesters coming in from all over the world for this event. And of course, for Bologna in 2022, this means they'll have more than 180 hams with many guests and possibly over 100,000, over 1,000 people attending from all over the world. And certainly there will be a lot of local news coverage covering the event from the local TV and radio stations from Bologna and Italy itself. Next slide, please. This is the organizing committee. I don't personally, the 2 that I have met, of course, Claudio and I have worked extensively together on the planning for this, I4VEQ, and Fabio, I4UFH. Claudio and Fabio were both here last February for the Orlando Hamcation. And I don't believe I've met the other gentleman, but as they say, they wear many hats. The note here also says the committee estimates some 300 volunteers will be needed to really pull off this event in 2022. Next slide, please. Fred, it's all yours, buddy.
Okay, well, thank you, George. And good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to wherever you may be around the world. And welcome to the WRTC presentation. I'm excited to be able to share information about the upcoming WRTC and hopefully answer any questions that you may have. Just a side note for George and the Hamcation moderator, I will not be able to take questions from the chat as I am sharing my screen. So either you or the Hamcation monitor will have to monitor chat for questions. So as the last slide showed you, there's an awful lot of activity that has to take place. And the picture of the gentleman with the small number of hats probably doesn't even come close to the thousands and tens of thousands of man hours required to have such an event successfully take place. One of the biggest ones and of most importance to the competitors is where are the sites going to be, and is my site going to be as equal in competition with the other sites? Consequently, that means largely flat areas are preferred without any geographic advantage given to any one site. Right now, a total of 35 sites have been identified, and it doesn't appear that there's going to be any big hurdles to finding any more, largely given the nature of the terrain and surrounding area. The target area for all the sites is between Bologna, Modena, and Ferrara. I hope I got those right. And it's in an area called Pianura Padana. Maybe it's Padana, I think. So anyway, as you can see from the picture, it's largely agriculture and in nature, and there's not too many people around. So hopefully this means they have great success, and that so far they have in finding sites. I know engineers and radio people are always interested in the terrain and what it looks like and all that. This is a small cross section. If you'll notice below, it may be somewhat familiar to you. This is actually a terrain profile generated from Google Earth. And while you can't read it, this distance from one side to the other, my bird says hello too. This distance is approximately 16 kilometers or 10 miles. So you can see the terrain is relatively flat. It looks like there might be a few little very, very small areas which are higher or lower. So for this reason, it's very easy to find competitively matched stations. Obviously, of importance to the competitors is what kind of antennas will I have, and how will I point them? How will I know what's going on, and this, that, and the other thing. Of course, not only important to the competitors, but are the sponsors. I can tell you this event would not happen without very generous sponsors and also very generous spouses of hams that are involved with this. It's an awful lot of work. The antennas are being kindly donated by Crassi, who many folks probably know was a key player in the 2014 WRTC in Boston. His call is Kilo 1 Lima Zulu, among many others. So there will be, very similar to other WRTCs, tri-band Yagis with 2 elements on 10 and 15. I'm sorry, 20 and 15, and 3 elements on 10. 40 and 80 meters will have an inverted V dipole type setup, and those will not be rotated, rotatable the best we know. Once again, Messi and Poloni have stepped up and will provide their wonderful supply of cables and connectors, and they are a repeat sponsor. Masts for the antennas will be provided by Momo Beam, another Italian sponsor who I believe may be new to this WRTC sponsorship, but it's always really, really great to have them joining us. The issue of rotors is still in limbo right now. The WRTC committee is looking actively for a donor solution for rotators for the Yagis. So if anyone is connected with potential rotator donors, please contact the WRTC address email, which we will show you here later in the slide. Another big important thing is making sure that the whole world knows what's going on in the contest with regard to scoring for the stations. This has always been a very interesting thing, not only online for the web, but also to display at the various venues in the WRTC area for which support folks as well as visiting amateurs would like to see. So the WRTC committee is working with some kind German hams to develop. They have 2 prototypes right now, and they're testing those. So that will be nice to have real-time activity and scores from the field, from the front lines. So let's talk a bit about the qualification contest. You don't just magically show up and say, I'm here ready to operate WRTC. It's a very lengthy procedure that comes to separate the best operators around the world in various zones from their competitions. The qualification process has ended late last year with the CQ Worldwide, and there are 24 contest events that took place over the years 2019 and 2020. As the results from the last few contests, the WAE, the CQ Worldwide, and all Asia contests have not been formally published by the contest sponsors, the WRTC results are still unofficial. Of course, the question everybody wants to know is when will the results be finalized, as there's a lot of planning that has to take place in WRTC from a competitor standpoint, and the sooner they can start working on those preparations with confidence that they're going to go, it's just much better to give them as much time as you can. We anticipate that the final results from the contest will come in July 2021. So we have a few more months to wait here. And then the WRTC committee will finalize the standings of WRTC competitors about a month after that. In the North America Zone 5, which is the zone that contains the area in which Hamcation should it have been held. It contains, it contains the American states of Alabama, Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. As you can see, there's a very, very close competition here between Kilo 4 Alpha Bravo, Larry, and also Bryant, Kilo Golf 5 Hotel Victor Oscar. It's very, very interesting to me to have watched the competition through this, and I congratulate both of those gentlemen for their great finishes in the North America Zone 5. In terms of team leaders, unfortunately, leader means only one, and there will be one team leader per zone, per qualifying zone. The teammate for that team leader can be selected from operators who have qualified in the 2nd to 11th places in any other zone in the world. And definitely there's been thousands and hundreds of thousands of hours for all the competitors who have worked hard and improved their stations, practice, improved their operating ability. And WRTC, the committee, would like to take the opportunity to thank everyone who not only was competing as a competitor, but also participated in the competing events for WRTC. For the rest of North America, I'm not going to go through all these, but here is the list of current leaders. And you can see for the 10 zones here, probably some very familiar calls. 2 of the 10 zones are comprised of Canada, that being North America 2 and North America 8, and probably a couple of very familiar Canadian calls there. How can you participate in WRTC? Well, as we mentioned, the qualification piece is pretty well down the process, and it will more than likely not be able to start qualifying now. There are plenty of other ways, other than being on the air and working the competitors, to become a participant in WRTC. There are, as George mentioned, going to be some 300 opportunities for folks to help with everything from logistical things to technical support things, even being a judge or a referee for WRTC. I'll pause here for a moment. There is going to be special events call for WRTC, and that will be India 4, Whiskey Romeo Tango Charlie. That will be operated from the headquarters at the Marconi, former Marconi residence. The 4th bullet there is very, very important for everybody. As WRTC has a very short window to identify and qualify the leaders and winners, it's very important for participants in the contest and the qualifying in the final event to submit their logs. I believe past WRTCs have had something like 75 or 85% of all contacts confirmed through log submissions. So that helps the judges determine exactly who is the best in terms of accuracy and competition. It's also very interesting to have a lot of that information to look at strategies for future operators. If you'd like to learn more about WRTC, including any of the events we've discussed here, they do have a website, and that's www.WRTC2022.it, Italy Tango for Italy. George, I'll toss it back to you and let you talk.
Okay. Well, now here's the pitch for money, of course. Well, it doesn't, this event does not pay for itself. We're expecting needing a budget of some 500,000 euros, or roughly 600,000 US dollars. Similar to past WRTCs in the US and Germany, which were the two most recent ones in 2014 and 2018. And as I said earlier, they do occur every 4 years. We need to reach this amount, and the significant donations will come really from individual operators. So if you have considered sending in a donation, and if you have sent in a donation, thank you very much for that. And if you have yet to send in a donation, please be as generous as your XYL will permit. Hi. North American donations can be accepted through the Worldwide Radio, or WWROF. I don't recall exactly.
Operators Foundation.
Say again?
Worldwide Radio Operators Foundation, I believe it is.
Yeah, Worldwide Radio Operators Foundation. This is in the United States a tax-exempt public charitable foundation, which means if any donations made through WWROF are tax deductible for U.S. Income taxes. So keep that in mind. And donations can be made via PayPal or through major credit cards. And of course, there's the PayPal address at donation@WRTC2022.it. So yeah, it's a big money raising event. In fact, what we were selling as a fundraising idea at the Orlando Hamcation were shirts and hats and memorabilia for donations, and that went quite nicely as long as we had the Orlando Hamcation. Unfortunately, Fred is one of the models for those fashion ideas. Unfortunately, we don't have the Orlando Hamcation this year. In fact, it would be this very weekend. But stashed in my closet is large quantities of shirts and hats. So if anyone's interested, we'll be looking for opportunities to display and sell this inventory of goods. So I think that's the last slide, Fred, as I recall.
You might mention the PayPal address.
Say again?
Did you mention the PayPal address?
Yes, I did, but I'll do it again. The PayPal address is donation, DONATION, at WRTC2022.it. Or you can always go to the WRTC website and learn about how to contribute. So I think that is the end of the presentation. If we can go to the Q, yes, we have a thank you for listening slide here. Bologna, mark your calendars for July 2022. I think my XYL has already identified for she and I to take a cruise out of Italy after this event. So I think that gives us permission to be at that event in Italy. I just wanted to let you know that, Claudio, if you're tuned in here, Claudio. So
if I may, you bring up a good point. If the Hamcation moderator could please add Claudio, I4 Victor Echo Quebec. I believe he's attending, and also IK1, was it Juliet Kilo Sierra, I believe. If you could add them so they could answer any questions also on behalf of WRTC, that would help us. If there are questions, please go ahead and enter those in the Q&A chat box. George, I can monitor those now, and we'll do our best to answer them. If we cannot, we'll certainly get back to you and forward your questions to the WRTC committee, who should be able to answer anything for you. So if there are questions, please go ahead and enter them in the chat right now.
And let me jump in here real quick. I'm trying to add Claudio, and I see he's logged in about 10 times. Not sure if that's going to be an issue. I'll add one of them, and we'll see what happens here.
Okay, was it Carlo? IK1, is it Juliet Kilo Sierra, I believe?
Yeah, so let me find him in the list here. I see a Carlos with no call sign.
That's
Italy
probably it.
Kilo 1 Hotel Julia Sierra.
There you go. Good. Okay. So the question we had, does the donation link go to WWROF, or do we need to go to the WWROF directly to receive a tax recognition? That one I'm not real sure about. George, do you have any ideas on that?
Actually, I don't, but I would assume, and it's an easy thing to confirm afterwards, but you would send the donation directly to WWROF with an annotation that it is for WRTC 2022.
Yes, you could.
Go ahead, Claudio.
Okay, you can send your donation directly to the Worldwide Radio Operator Foundation directly, and then they will give us the complete amount of the donation sometime. So you can send your donation directly to the WWROF, and so you only for US taxpayers, of course. You can send it directly to the WWROF.
Okay, thank you, Claudio. Also, we had a question from an anonymous attendee asking about hotel recommendations. I know hotels were always a challenge if you're in a rural area and there's not a lot of hotels around. Can you share any information with us, please, Claudio, about hotel recommendations or accommodations?
Yes, okay. We will give some hotel recommendation, but we are managing contact with some hotel in the operating area, and the situation here in Italy is very difficult, especially in for hotels. There almost lot of it are still closed because. Of course, no tourists, difficult to move in the country. So we have to stay, we still have restriction to remain in the same region. We cannot go out of our region. So most of these hotels don't take any business for such a long time till the 2022. So we are still arrange some contact with this hotel, but we of course we have we are in contact. We are in touch with some hotel in the area, in the operating area, but we will send a list of the hotel at the mid of 2021, around July, August, July. This will be the period that we will finalize the hotel list, the hotel location. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Claudio. For those that may not have heard, if you do have questions about WRTC, please go ahead and type them in the chat, and we'll certainly be happy to answer those as they come up. I don't see any other questions. Claudio, is there anything you would like to add that we didn't cover all the way in the presentation, or any new information you can give us?
Okay, first of all, I want to thank Fred and George for the very nice job, very nice presentation. Very, very good. Sorry about the vacation this year. I have been there last year in 2020, and it was the last event that we directly attending. It was really the last fair that we directly attend. So I'm very sorry that I cannot be there this year. Maybe at the beginning of 2022 we will have another occasion to go there and to see all of you just before the WRTC event. So that's the story. I hope to see you all in Bologna in 2022, and we are working hard to get ready for that date, but it's very difficult because we cannot organize a real meeting because WRTC is not only competition, is an event an occasion to meet friends from all over the world. So if this will not be possible for the 2022 because this pandemic has a lot of restriction, especially in flight, so it's very difficult to move. We are still waiting and we hope that we will be ready for the 2022, and especially the condition will be better for the end of this year. So
Okay.
that's the story.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
Claudio,
much.
just we do have some more questions. Just to confirm
Yes,
the question.
Go ahead.
There was a question if 160 meters would be part of WRTC, and I think the answer is no to that. We have another question about someone who's interested in volunteering as a referee. How and when should they do that?
Okay. No, 160. We discussed about that, but it's very difficult to arrange a performing antenna for this band. So I think it's better to leave the 160 out of the competition. So probably it will be restricted as the past years. It will be restricted to 10 to 80 meter.
Okay,
and,
thank you. How about the referee question?
Okay, there will be soon a question. We will please look on our website. We will put in a few, maybe soon a list. I was sorry, I don't want to forgot the word, but we will put all the information for to participate as a referee in the competition. It will be into 1 month.
So it will be on the website under competition.
Yes.
Okay.
It will be published on our website. And also on the Reflector, please subscribe the WRTC Reflector for any news.
And there's information about that on the website as well. The website address and URL is at the bottom of the page there in blue.
Yes.
We had another question about are there any concerns that COVID-19 might affect your plans? Of course, I think that's certainly a yes, but Claudio, I'll let you comment on that.
Sorry, say again the question.
Is there a concern that COVID-19 could affect the planning of WRTC?
Maybe, yes, we are talking about this because, as I said before, WRTC is not only a simple competition, but is an event is an occasion to meet all friends, all contestants from all over the world. So if we cannot do this with this event completely free from the COVID-19, probably we will be postponed the event to the 2023. We are discussing about that, and we will let you know as soon as possible.
Okay, I would assume the website and the Reflector are good places to get that information. So we had another question. What size of T-shirts and other wearables, hats are currently available? I guess that was from VE4 Echo Alpha. George, can you comment on that?
Yeah, and hi, Kelly. Thank you for the question. Yeah, well, there are many sizes going from small to, I think, 6 X-ray. So they get quite large, but some of us hams do get quite large. So if you're interested, let me know and I'll go through the inventory. But I'd rather not get into sending these things, especially across the border. but they certainly are available. And we do have many, 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 many coffee cups, and of course, they're all the same size. They're big.
So will there be some sort of a shop or a purchase, online purchase on the website, Claudio, or how do you anticipate that?
Yeah, I don't know. It's something I need to discuss with Claudio to see what we might do about dispensing this inventory of wearables.
Okay, so more to come. Look at the website for that information also. Another question comes from Dale Kilo Golf 5 United. He would like to know if he volunteers, will he need to be speaking Italian?
No, really, no. It's not important to speak Italian because, of course, in any, of course, we will need a lot of English speakers as volunteers. So no problem. And also in every site, we will have about almost 1 or 2 Italian speakers. So no problem if you don't speak Italian. No problem at all. You can go and you can help us in any way, of course, especially if you are speaking English, of course.
Okay, and another question was, has a headquarters hotel been chosen? And where will the opening and closing ceremonies be held?
Yes, okay. We are in touch with an hotel that is in a small town north of Bologna, and very close there is a Palasport, a large building, where we can do the final and the presentation ceremony. More that we can put more than 1,000 people in this hall, so there is no problem. That's our first solution.
Okay, that I think takes care of all the questions that I've seen. Maybe one just popped up here in chat.
Fred, let me make one comment. Somebody commented about the book Contact Sport. Contact Sport is a book that was written by a fellow by the name of Jim George from lives in Austin, Texas. November 3 Bravo Bravo and 3BB wrote the book Contact Sport. It's quite readily available through the bookstores or Amazon. It's quite a very, very good book. He wrote it about the WRTC event in New England. It's definitely nice to read if you're going to be working and participating in any WRTCs.
Okay, thanks, George. And there was one question that just popped up. Will WRTC events be streamed? Perhaps an opportunity to raise funds and have WRTC party online. I'll let Claudio comment on that one.
Yes, of course. That will be sure. We will be online and also for the ceremonies, and we are studying about to make some online event also for the competitors station during the competition.
Okay, great. I don't think, let me just see if I don't think there's any more questions there. Anything else that we're missing, George, or any last minute questions? If so, please go ahead and type them in the comments section and we'll be happy to address them.
I have a kind of an interesting thing. Who is the furthest DX we have in this conference?
Well, I guess it depends on where you're located, because DX from where I am is going to be different than where you are and where Claudio is. So I know I did get an email from someone in China. So welcome to our friends in China. I don't know how many others. I don't have visibility of the YouTube. I would also like to thank the Hamcation moderators for putting this on, because it's a very big event. Unless you've done this, you can't appreciate it. So thank you to them too. Claudio, is there anything else that you would like? We have a few more minutes here before the next seminar, but if there's anything else you'd like to comment on, please let us know.
Okay. No, really, I have no other suggesting, please help us in any way, because the fundraising is very slow at the present, because a lot of companies related with our hobby are not in the crisis. The economic crisis in this year has been very hard, especially here in Italy. So probably most of the donation should come from individuals. So please help us in any way. That's all my.
I see your comment. It's really important to donate, and it doesn't matter how much. So, okay. Well, with that, I'd like to thank the Hamcation Convention Committee, also the WRTC Committee, for allowing us to tell you about WRTC. I hope you found it important and informational. And if you would like more information, the website is right there at the bottom of the screen, www.wrtc2022.Italy Tango for Italy. With that, I guess we can go ahead and close the bridge, and we'll turn it back to the Hamcation moderator.
Okay, yes, and I want to, on behalf of Hamcation Special Event, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. And yeah, we will go ahead and end the session now, and hope you all have a good weekend. And please join us for some of the other webinars.